The Raptors are trying to be active towards the NBA trade deadline. One of the main reasons they're trying to be active is that they have bad contracts in the team. And one of the reasons they haven't been able to get any deals done is because they have bad contracts to the teams they're trying to give to other teams that other teams just don't really want. So it's put us in a little bit of a handcuff situation with 2, maybe 3 of the players in the team. So let's look at how bad these Raptors contracts really are and how they stack up against some of the other really bad contracts around the NBA. And what inspired this conversation here is this article that was written by Keith Smith, where article went to Spotrac. It's nothing the worst contracts in the NBA. There are going to be fewer and fewer bad contracts in the NBA. Not that the Raptors can help it, but there are still some deals where production lags behind payment. He ranked the 20 worst contracts in the NBA and lists why. So let's go to the article. 2026 NBA worst value contracts, and let's see where the Raptors are. We're going to have at least one. I think we're going to have 2. I think we might maybe we'll have 3. Let's see where the Raptors are on this list. I closed my eyes. I scrolled right to the bottom because for some reason he goes number 1 is first. So we're gonna start from the bottom here, work our way up through the bad contract. So Jared Vanderbilt, yeah, little bit much, hasn't lived up to his deal, as he says there. Wendell Carter, probably a bit much with that extension. Yeah, hasn't quite advanced enough. Nick Claxton, not bad. That's not a bad contract necessarily. You'd probably want a center who gives production on a lesser contract, but yeah, I don't know. He's saying doesn't quite fit the team, never truly great defender, solid rebounder, fallen off some over the last couple seasons. Yeah, I've always felt like the Raptors fan base overrated him a little bit, but I'm not sure it's that bad of a contract. Devin Vassell, yeah, the Spurs kind of committed a little bit early here for Vassell. They didn't need to give him that sort of money. I think they'll be looking to kind of get off of this because I think there's improvements elsewhere. So, yeah, Vassell's quite a lot. I can agree there. Jordan Poole, yes, obviously very bad. Jalen Green, yes, obviously very bad. He sucks. Suns a bit of wagon this season, so, but he doesn't deserve that 35.3. Jared Allen, he's just diminished quite a bit. He says like Jakob Poeltl. Okay, well, Jakob Poeltl hasn't been on the list yet, so I'm sure we'll see Jakob Poeltl. Yeah, Allen has kind of fallen off a little bit with the injury issues. I mean, he was playing like an all-star for a good period of time, but the injury issues and I think the fit next to Evan Mobley have kind of diminished the value of that contract. Miles Turner, guy we were just talking about. First year of the contract, yeah, kind of tough. They overpaid after the finals, and they overpaid to get him off the Pacers, and it hasn't worked out. It just hasn't worked out. That'll be a tough one to get off going forward for the Bucks. All right, here we go. Number 12, first Raptors player, Immanuel Quickley. When Quickley signed this deal, it looked fair. Good point. His contract ranked around the middle of the pack for point guards. Quickley looked like he was improving, would be a solid star for the Raptors. Well said. I completely agree. Then last season was injury impacted. This season, Quickley's efficiency has fallen off, and now looks like a low-end starter who might be best as a high-end sixth man on a good team. That's not enough production to justify a deal north of $32 million per season. That is truly an excellent way of describing the Immanuel Quickley situation. The deal at the time, it says it looks fair. I think it was like a bit too high, but it was kind of, we're paying you for what you should become as a player. And we haven't seen the development we were hoping for and expecting. And as much as Quickley's been fine, like people who say, I've said this last stream, but the people who say the Raptors are better just without Quickley are wrong. Quickley's a solid player. He's a fine player. He's just not justifying the amount of money that he's making. Well, last week he was Eastern Conference Player of the Week. But like as a season as a whole, He's not justifying the price tag. That needs to change. I mean, there's a reason he is on the list as high as he is. Drew Holiday, yeah, I guess it's a bit much. Yeah, I guess it's a bit much. It'll be tough for him to play like a $35 million player despite his talents. LaMelo Ball, I don't actually think that was like an overpay. I don't think that's a horrific contract. I don't think it should be as high as that. John Morant kind of looks bad right now. I think if he gets a move, he'll start to play up to this quite a bit more. This was a guy getting like MVP votes after all. I don't think it should be quite as high here. Anthony Davis, yeah, I mean, this might be a bit high as well. Like, there's teams willing to take this Anthony Davis contract. They're willing to take on this contract to have Anthony Davis team. Like, John Morant sure looks like some teams kind of treat that as a poison pill, but I don't think these are players that teams are actively avoiding. So I don't know if they should be as high as they are. Sabonis, that's pretty high, but again, that's pretty high. Yeah, that's quite a lot for Sabonis. I don't think Sabonis is a real ceiling raiser. So to have him that high, to have him on that figure, $45.5 million a year, yeah, it's tough to justify getting that on your team and building around that, which is why I'm a little bit off of the Raptors wanting to trade for him. Jeremy Grant, yes, terrible contract, 34.2, just solid player, but that's just way too much money. DeJounte Murray, awful contract, awful player in my opinion. Patrick Williams, it's not like a crippling level of money, but it's a lot of money for a guy who's not good. I've been saying that for years. Here we go. Jakob number 3. It really is tough to have Jakob Poeltl number 3 on this list. He just signed this extension, and it won't kick in for another year and a half. So for the next 2 years, he's making 19.5, including this year. This one and the next year, 19.5 million. That's not too bad. But then it jumps up to almost $30 million a year the 3 years after that, and he's already dealing with a back issue that could turn out to be persistent. It's not a tremendous situation to be in, absolutely, for the Raptors. They're already trying to get off of this contract. This could turn into, we could be looking at this list in a couple of years, and this might be the top. I don't know. It'll stay close to it for a very long time, I think. You know what? Paul George in the NBA, this will be the worst contract. I can't even think about who's going to be first here. This will be worse than the Poeltl contract until it's sorted, because Paul George is not that good anymore, and he's making money like he's like an all-NBA player, which he is very far from at this point, and he's always hurt. Wow, that's a bad one. Joel Embiid. Ooh, Joel Embiid's first. So it's bad, but like I can't really blame the Sixers. Like, this is a perennial MVP candidate at one point. It's tough to, like, I guess the way he's playing right now and the health issues, it's really bad. I don't think it's as bad as Paul George, but, like, I think part of it is there's justification for why that contract was given his way. But, unfortunately, like they're saying in the article here, how many games? 24 of 43 games he's played this season. He played 39 games 2 seasons ago, 19 games last season, 24 so far this season. No matter what level he's playing at, that's not returning enough value on one of the largest contracts in the NBA, and his play has been pretty uneven in the last few years when he has played. His play has slipped. He's grabbing the fewest rebounds per game of his career and doesn't move well enough to provide plus rim protection any longer. Yeah. It'll be tough to compete with that, I suppose. Maybe it is the worst. It doesn't feel right to say it's the worst. I think Paul George is the worst. But the guys we're focusing on here, Poeltl, quickly. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for Poeltl. I think quickly, if they hang on to it, I think there's still a chance quickly does develop and get to the point where we're thinking, okay, Not that big of a ripoff. Not that bad of a contract. I'm fearful of the contract, but like there's possibly there. I am genuinely and this is coming from like one of like the biggest Jakob Poeltl supporters. I am extremely fearful of that Poeltl contract going forward, and if there's a chance to get rid of it now, it might really be worth it for this team, because like I said, that could be right at the top, just under Paul George, maybe even under Joel Embiid for years to come.